Take it away, fellas.
Thank you, voice girl, and welcome once again to another edition of the Manspace Podcast. Now, this is the voice of Russ, and with me, as always, is my co-host who said he'll be any million's 100th man in the 99 versus a gorilla, the one and only Big Flex.
Hey, man, I'm down for that. I'll be number 100.
Number 100.
Yeah.
As long as he goes through 99, hey, you know.
Hey, well, you know, I don't want to be 1 through 10. That's for sure.
Not
you know
at
what
all.
I'm saying? Not at all.
Not at all.
I want to stay in that group of 90 to 100.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
with sticks, bats, and shotguns. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, man, did you hear about this man in China?
Mm-hmm.
He proposed to his girlfriend.
Okay.
He spent $82,000 on the proposal, getting all of these old iPhones. They're like 5s or 6s or something like that.
Yeah.
And he makes this big heart for them to stand in the middle of, for him to propose to her.
Okay.
And she says no.
that?
$82,000 spent.
She owed me some
And she
money.
said no.
She owed me some money. I mean, hey, look. Well, that's just, you know, we always talk about you got to know who you with. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
Ooh,
You need to be very well within that relationship.
Yeah, you need to know.
I think
86 grand?
82 grand, yeah.
82 grand.
82 grand, yes.
Grand is 1,000 for people who don't know. A K is, but oh my.
Yeah.
Oh no. I have so many different remarks I want to make, but this is you know, family friendly show. I can't do that right now. Oh,
but listen,
God.
I mean, this guy, he obviously needed help from our special guest, because I'm sure if he would have talked to our guest today, that he would not have spent that money. He would have had a stronger proposal. He would have known this woman a lot better.
Yes.
Before he made this decision. Because impulse gets you broke.
Impulse do a lot. Impulse will do a lot to you.
But listen, Manspace Nation, as I was alluding to, we have a special guest. Manspace Nation, get ready to meet someone who is changing the way we navigate love in the modern world. Based out of Los Angeles. Our guest is a seasoned dating coach with a passion for helping people cut through the noise of today's dating landscape. From decoding the mysteries of the dating apps to guiding clients through breakups, divorces, and even the journey back to self-love. He brings clarity, compassion, and real-world strategies to every conversation. His coaching goes beyond quick fixes. He empowers individuals to embrace their unique qualities and learn how to present them authentically to attract the right partner. And with over 2 million listeners, our guest co-hosts the popular show Dating with Dignity podcast, offering weekly insights, laughs, and the kind of straight talk that makes dating feel a little less overwhelming. Manspace Nation, please welcome our special guest, Mr. Chris Gillis. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Our little bad kids that normally do the applause are hiding at the moment.
They're gone.
Where? Come on. There they go.
There you go.
All right. Oh, they want to do it again. Okay, sit down. Okay. So welcome to the show, Chris.
Man, thank you for having me broadcasting live from a Holiday Inn somewhere in deep eastern New York.
There you go. There you go.
Nice.
Sorry, I don't have the cool background you guys got, man. That intro was fire, by the way. Holy moly. That is the coolest intro I've seen on any podcast yet. Joe Rogan, watch out.
There you go.
We're coming for you, Joe. We're coming for you. Sirius XM better pay attention.
Yeah.
We want that Sirius XM money.
Yeah.
So
buy a lot of
let
phones
me
with that.
just jump right in. Right. A whole lot of phones. Hey, we don't need them now. We're both married.
Yeah, we're good.
But Chris, one of my favorite Will Smith movies is Hitch. Right.
Mm,
And
mm,
and when I first talked to you, that's all I could think of is like you being this real life Hitch. Like, how did you go from, a little kid
mm,
saying, most kids want to be, football players, race car drivers,
mm,
astronauts,
mm.
doctors, maybe even somebody wants to chase an ambulance. How did you get into wanting to be into relationship coaching?
That's a good question, man. And it's weird. I didn't really pick it. I can't turn my brain off when it comes to the thinking about connections and why we do the things that either pull people away and the things that push people away. And I've always been deeply fascinated by the subconscious psychology that motivates us to make what I think is the most important decisions of our life, which is the partner and we're going to be with and the people we surround ourselves by. So it's that bizarre, unknown, mystical science. And it drove me crazy, Russ, unless people would be like, just be confident. Just be confident, man. And I grew up not very confident. I grew up very poor self-worth and a lot of really bad examples of people in relationships around me. I mean, like 0% success rate. So be confident, but then, learning like, well, how, I don't know how to swing the bat, I don't know how to hold the bat. How am I going to, make any contact here with the wood? So I was, and I still am obsessed on it. And I just love helping people, especially men, make sense and finally figure out and get out of their own way and stop self-sabotaging and do some of the deeper inner stuff to finally really get that relationship with themselves grounded and secure so that they can find somebody who wants to come in there and be their, ultimate person so they can have a meaningful relationship. So unlike Hitch, which is, a lot of just fun, flashy things.
Right.
We got Paul Blart, the mall cop or whatnot going around here. I coach real guys to give them real results. That lasts,
Awesome.
most importantly, that lasts. This isn't just quick hookup stuff. There's different guys for that. I know how to do that stuff, but ultimately it's not fulfilling. I mean, yeah, you guys, you guys probably were, had game. I'm sure you still do with the ladies back in the day. But at some point, less no. Oh, look at him. That's ultimately.
I plead the fifth.
Plead the fifth. Okay, it's a family show.
My wife listens.
Yeah, you never know when mine is listening. She's probably standing outside the door.
Listening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey,
The ear hustle is real.
Right. So Russ mentioned the movie Hitch.
Yeah.
One of the guys that was trying to be a client was a guy who was just looking to hook up.
Yeah.
Who is your ideal target audience that you deal with?
That's a great
that
question.
You like to deal with?
Yeah, absolutely. My ideal client, target client is generally a person who is stuck, who has a good heart. I always say I help good men date great women, and vice versa. But it's to help people who are stuck and they just can't figure out what's going on, and they can't. Maybe it could be areas of self-sabotage. Maybe they're repeating cycles. Maybe they've heard the same ex or exes in the past scream the same things at them before. Why are you so this or that? And they're starting to notice some patterns, but they're not quite sure what to do about those patterns. What I love is helping these people create strategies, make sense of all that data. So it's not noise and what's data makes sense. We listen to, and then from there create strategies. And then most importantly, to actually act on them. Because a lot of really good, especially men, we love, and I'm one of those guys that loves reading every book, watching every YouTube video. You may be seeing, it's like guys who like watch everybody play golf or play video games, but don't actually live the life. And I think life is meant to live. And so I help guys get out there and get the courage through small baby steps to take those moments. Because what I think what drives me nuts less is that so many of the guys out there who are winning and who are dating the women, they're not the good guys. They're the,
of course,
the good guys.
Yeah.
They're scared on the bench. Yeah. They're sitting there, a little bit even like what you saw in Hitch as well.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, just going through, there's so many people out there now that are using some of these dating apps, and it seems like there's such a rise because there's so many of them out there. What makes your service so much better, or why should somebody choose your service rather than using one of the dating apps?
Oh my goodness. I mean, you know your buddy Les here. You know him like the back of your hand. Could you sum up Les in a dating app with 5 photos? No. It's
No.
and that's what's so
No.
the apps are created to showcase oftentimes what men find attractive, you know, in femininity, but a man's essence and what women are truly looking for and what keeps the guy around. It's one thing to hook up, but what actually keeps a guy around, those are character qualities. And that just doesn't, it just doesn't bode well, man. And, you know, plus we don't look great with all the filters and fillers and all the, you know, all the hair color and all those things do anyways. Again, look, I'm come from Los Angeles, where a land of smoke and mirrors, and that's what the dating apps are. And they leave people frustrated and or if you're a guy, you're lucky to even get a match. They say it's around 1,000 right swipes to even get a cup of coffee, and that's a lot of work. Whereas instead, if you're actually, you know, at that coffee shop and you actually, you know, are able to approach that person, it says so much about you, and it ultimately, you know, as a man, and also it's the ultimate compliment that a woman can receive as well, to know that you were so, you know, transfixed and motivated by her beauty, that you were going to take the risk to potentially put yourself out there. And then and that's starting off, you know, starting off in a winning position. But when you start off on the apps, man, they're already annoyed at you that you're making them be on these apps, because in the people, it's so crazy. In the end, people, we really do miss this in-person approaching and meeting people at bars and out there. But the perception of, because of the apps, I think the perception of the pain of fear has been inflated to a amount it's not actually true. And so we overestimate, I think, especially these guys who've never been rejected. And I think they couldn't survive a real life rejection. So they sit there with all these, you know, these swipes. But in the end, even though not getting, you know, not getting swiped back, those are all little micro paper cuts. So it does end up hurting just as bad. So do the damn thing. Talk to the person in real life, showcase yourself and stand up for yourself. And it feels a lot better. And you can, you know, hold your head up high.
I think that was one of the things that I struggled with. It was that fear of rejection up front. Because I know one of my buddies, he was one of those that would cast a wide net. And he's like, you know, you throw that net out there, there's going to be at least one fish that comes back in there. There might be some, you know, some tires or whatever else that comes back in the net, but there's going to be at least one fish in that net. And so that was his approach. Like we went to a game one time, and we decided to walk around the football stadium, and he talked to women on every side of the stadium. And I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? Like the other girl is just like 2 feet over. Like he was, and it was never my style, right? I was okay. If I see one, I'm going to target one, and that was it. And if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't. And that was it. And I wasn't going to try anything else, because my thought was, oh, he just tried to talk to me, you know, that type of thing, you know. So I'm playing all these different scenarios out of my head, and I would probably defeat myself before, you know. So there's so many, I guess, mental challenges that come along with a lot of it. How do you guide those challenges and help men with those?
Well, I love that analogy about your buddy. I think, on a positive note, the takeaway of that is that is affirmation of how much we are starving to be connected with, that we will take, you know, being dragged in a net along with the tires and the things just to be acknowledged. So that you mentioned, it sounds like the gals were, you know, appreciative or smiling, or at least they weren't, you know, throwing their sodas at them or popcorn or whatever it was. So we're like, oh, okay. This is that. And that's, for all the listeners out there, just to know that, guys, even if they are married or not interested or in a girlfriend, you're going to make somebody's day feel good. And that should be motivation enough to be like, I'm not doing anything bad here. And I think that's important, because I think a lot of especially guys have it twisted, and they think that, oh, girls don't want you to connect with them. You know, just to connect and to see them. Now, Yeah, what he did though, and what you were like, you're more of a you're a target fisherman. You're going out there like, all right, we're getting halibut today. We're gonna pull up some big old butts and get bend this pole on there. So you come up there with with a plan, and that is and your target, and that's a lot more specific. And that is more of what I help guys do, because you don't want to eat a tire, right? At the end of the day, you want to have something that's your product. Maybe someday, have something, big old marlin you can put up on that wall behind you and say, hey, this is it. I'm good.
Right.
This is what I thought.
I'm good on there. So, but that requires, and that also just feels so much more sincere. So just kind of little side note on seeing people are like, oh, well, Chris is saying, let's go connect with everybody. Yeah, you can do it the way that your buddy did. No harm, no foul most of the time. But it is so much more powerful when you give that compliment, for example, with specificity. So, for example, saying, oh, Russ, hey, man, you look good today. Versus you're like, oh, cool, thanks, I appreciate it. Like, dude, I love that black polka dot shirt on you. Yeah, that's it, man. That's right there. You're like, oh,
yeah,
that's what's really powerful.
Yeah, really calling it out.
Right.
Yeah. The more specific you can be about something, the better. And that's when the person knows if they're being sincere or just throwing that net out and just, says something about the fisherman.
I like
his quality and standards.
I like how you put that.
Russ, those are some beautiful glasses that you have.
Thank you, my friend. They're brand new, as a matter of fact.
I noticed that.
I just picked these up like right before we did the show.
I mean, you should have had them. You should have had them weeks ago. It brings a sparkle to your eye.
Yes, I couldn't see you before, but now I can see you.
Wait, and here's the question that I asked my wife when she got her new glasses. I said, "Do you still like me?"
Now that you can see
it. Apparently she does, because I'm still hanging around.
Hanging around.
That's amazing, man.
But Chris,
I love that.
I'm a parent and I have daughters, man. And I do have some female associates that I work with that talk about this term called soulmates. Right? Do you believe in soulmates? Does that exist, or is that a myth?
I don't believe that there's just one soulmate. I believe that, man, this is intense when the camera zooms up on you. I love it. But those who don't know at home, all of a sudden, boom, there I am. I think that to create a soulmate is something that you create over the years, almost like planting a seed in a garden, and together you work on it and you grow and you pull the weeds and you tend to it. And a soulmate is something that it takes time to flourish with time and effort. And there's no one particular person that can be your soulmate. I believe it's something you have to work together to grow and develop through trials, tribulations, through pains, through vulnerabilities, through working through things, through going through stuff together. And I think that can be done with a lot of people. And I think that what makes it that's so beautiful is that almost like a partnership, a team, like a Scottie Pippen and a Jordan or something. They're so incredibly aligned and focused that they're never going to take the eye off of the ultimate prize, which is in this case is this beautiful fidelity and closeness with each other. So I think there's a lot of opportunities, but I think it's up to the person in order to create a soulmate style like partnership.
Awesome.
I like the way you put it. Same. The soulmate style partnership. I like that.
Yeah.
That's one way I've never processed it that way. But I like that.
Did your guys' girls did they say you're their soulmates?
No,
not mine. I think she's still deciding after all of these years, man.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. She knows to tolerate me.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know, man.
We did this segment and we bring it around February and it's called the Love Doctor.
The Love
Doctor. Where we open it up to our listeners to send in their questions and Les tries to help them through their romantic situations. But there was one that came in, and I'm going to summarize it down to this young man. He's very shy. He's hardworking, but he's interested in this woman who's probably about 6-7 years older than him.
Okay.
And he's so he's attracted to her. He wants to ask her out, but he cannot build up the confidence to ask her out. And every scenario he's tried to play up to get the perfect opportunity, something always happens where it doesn't work. So what type of advice would you have for a young person in that situation?
That's a great question. I would say that important to know that confidence is built over time, and it's a self-investment that we make, almost like depositing into our own bank. And also self-confidence and lack of self-confidence is something that we remove, and we take withdrawals out. So for example, not acting and not really honoring and feeling what it is and what drives us. Again, we'll say, back to that person at Starbucks or something. You're just like, my God, I just want to say something to her so bad. And when we don't do that, man, that's what really, and it's not the rejection that hurts. Yeah, that hurts a little bit. But you don't even get rejected. They say, nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to skip the rejection and that pain. But what ultimately we end up eating and taking away and making withdrawal, and not standing up for and going after what it is that we want. And that's what decreases our self-confidence a little bit, like a paper cut over and over and over again. And the same thing applies to building that self-confidence up. It's doing those small little things that you're doing them because you know that you love yourself. For example, like you would do it for a friend. Would you get up and do that slightly uncomfortable thing for a friend? And it's after we've done that, almost like going to the gym. You don't have to go out there and start, benching 225 to start off with, but just showing up, walking around maybe the first time, just taking baby steps and building up, touching the bar. Next week, lifting the bar. Next week, putting 5 pounds on or whatnot. And that's what self-confidence. What I would share with that guy there is that, like, most likely. And this guy, was he one of those, he's a very, intellectual, smart guy who tends to think and not do. Yeah. I'm that guy, by the way. I'm definitely that guy. And that's why I do this work, because I would try to solve everything strategically, and it worked great in my life. And I think a lot of these men who are alone, very smart, successful, they're able to use their brain and intellectualize themselves through hard things. But it's the following through. It's the doing. They know what they're supposed to do, but it's the not doing thing. And we have a unfortunate modern dating dilemma and era right now, where there's a lot of red pill beliefs and say, don't try, or women are not this or that. These blanket statements coming from both sides, by the way, of why just to give up before we even try. Right. And that give up, man, that's really giving up on ourselves. And that's believing, BS that we don't maybe truly believe, and just like, okay, let me go find an echo chamber that's going to say, hey, you're all right, man. And it's not worth it anyway, or there's no good women out there, and you got to, whatever, become a passport bro. And, that's where all the good girls are at, or whatever limiting beliefs that they have. But I would suggest to that guy to start off, not even with this gal. I made you laugh. Not even with this gal, but just notice other areas in his life. Most likely he's not doing that damn little thing that'll just make him feel a little bit better and make him stand up a little bit straighter, whatever it is for himself. So that he can really practice going after what it is that he wants. Because most likely how you do anything is how you do everything. And he's probably cutting himself off at his knees in a lot of other areas of his life.
Yeah, I love that passport, bro.
Yeah,
you do.
Passport, bro. Yeah.
I'm gonna work that into my vernacular on a regular basis.
Bro, they got a whole YouTube channel, guy. You gotta go and watch it. It's all over YouTube, man. I gotta bring you up to speed. We'll talk after.
Yes. So, Chris, we have a quick game that we're gonna play with you, and this is something that's more. I think we've already broken the ice, but it's an icebreaker game, and we like to do this. It's called Lightning Round.
There it is.
So what's going to happen? Oh, no, wait. Now it wants to keep playing. Seriously. It's derby season. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Now we should be
That's
done
fun.
with it. Okay. So what's going to happen is Les is going to read you a question. You're just going to say the first thing that comes to mind. It's going to be 60 seconds.
Okay.
Les, 60 seconds.
I'm gonna try
Les
to
likes
get
to go
through as
way
many.
over.
Well, it gets fun. It gets fun. It's interesting, and I think Chris is interesting.
I have upped the budget because we have a guest.
Yes.
Because of Chris, I have
Okay.
upped the budget. So there's going to be a clock in the corner, Les, for you to see. That's right.
That's poopy time.
I'm putting the pressure on you.
It's poopy time. Let's not do that. I can't even see it. It's covered.
Let
me see.
Let me know when you are ready.
No expenses spared here. All right.
Let's go.
That's right. You ready?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Let's go. Boom. What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Urinal.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Name a fruit. Now.
Mango.
Oh, early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Okay. One word to describe Mondays.
Ooh, fun days.
Okay. What animal would you be?
Jaguar, baby.
All right. First celebrity that comes to mind.
Jason Momoa.
Okay. What food could you eat forever?
Sushi.
Name. What's your superpower?
Oh, empathy.
Empathy. Worst chore ever.
Scrubbing the toilets.
What's something people overrate?
Their looks.
What's something you oddly good at? What's something you're oddly good at?
Oddly good at make my eyebrows move.
Scrubbing the toilet was accurate. I mean, that was pretty good.
That was good.
That
was pretty good. I like that.
The clock was running down. I had to throw something up.
Yeah.
Shoot.
All right. Well, we are going to take a quick break. But before we go to break, we got to talk about our sponsor. Fellas, let's talk about something that's very, very important. It's time to trim the hedges and tidy up the terrain because presentation matters. And the folks at Manscaped know exactly how to help you keep things clean, smooth, and frankly, a little bit heroic. Whether it's with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, with skin-safe technology, or the Crop Preserver deodorant for yes, down there, or that ridiculously fresh, refined cologne, Manscaped has turned men's grooming into an art form. No nicks, no snags, no excuses. And right now, because we here at the Manspace Podcast love you guys and your grooming habits, you can get 20% off plus free shipping when you use our code TMSP20 at manscaped.com. That's TMSP20 for 20% off and free shipping. And if it's free, I'll take 3. It's time to level up your grooming game and treat yourself like the legend you are. Get Manscaped because confidence starts below the belt. You're welcome. Jeez. All right, we are back with more of the Manspace Podcast. Our special guest, the relationship coach extraordinaire, Mr. Chris Gillis. So,
Yeah.
hopping back
Fresh off
into the
manscaping. Thank
show.
you for that. I got that optical interest.
Hey, all I can tell you is it works great. That's all
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
It's all about the
It
angle,
does.
right?
It's about the angle,
It's about
and
that.
presentation matters.
That's
But
right.
listen, I read an article in USA Facts that's said back in 2024, only 47.1% of households were headed by married couples.
Mm,
That's way down from what we saw back in, I think, 1947. I think it was listed at 78%
yeah.
at that time. And since 2010, it has been below 50% ever since 2010.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was kind of a startling number, and it just seems like young people today don't have a lot of positive images of what marriage looks like, whether it's to issues at the home, what's on
Yeah.
TV, the music they listen to, and especially social media.
Mhm.
So in your experience and with people that you've had to deal with, what are some of the biggest myths about relationships that people have to have presented to you based
Yeah.
on what they've seen in TV and movies and social media?
I love it that I've seen that data as well, and it is interesting how with the advent of social media, how all sorts of connection hell breaks loose, and
Mhm.
yeah, and then plus exacerbated with COVID, we almost forgot how to be people, we forgot how to be human, and and connect with one another and chat with one another, and and how to do all that stuff. But
Mhm.
I think one of the biggest misconceptions, I oftentimes work, so I'm a relationship coach. I just got off a call with a guy in a relationship, but I also coach a lot of guys who've never yet been in any serious relationships as well. And I think one of the awesomely things they end up, but disappointing things they end up discovering is that if they thought that being single was hard, well, wait till you get in a relationship. You guys can speak on that. That's when the rubber really meets the road. And to have a healthy relationship on top of that, I think it really requires us to know ourselves, and to I spoke about understanding and being innately in tune with who we are and what we want and what we desire, but also how to communicate that to somebody else. And I think we're at this interesting precipice of understanding as men, and evolving and leveling up from not just the traditional masculinity that maybe our grandparents, for example, especially may have presented, but also how to embody some of those higher, more feminine qualities, the EQ, the emotional intelligence, and how to express ourselves to be a real 360 man. And I think what I'm seeing now is that people aren't settling anymore. And whether it's true or not, with especially with online dating, everybody feels like they have an opportunity to date every, you name it, whatever their perfect 10 is out there. And so these stakes keep getting raised higher and higher and higher, and it's up to us not to be perfect, but to show that we are, especially as men, that we are working on leveling ourselves up. And not necessarily there, but women just want to see that we have an intention, and we have a plan, and we are working on it, and we're just not stagnant and just trying to dial it in, like some of these people in the past, because women are not dialing in. Women have been, they have been crushing it in almost every area and aspect of success in these last 30, 40 years, and they just keep on growing and growing and growing. So I think it's, again, I'm not saying that without that there's not new problems as well that are unfolding, but definitely as men, we have new assignments to take on. We've got new quests that we must boldly, go forth. And but a lot of us, we're not quite sure exactly where to go or how to do it, and we don't have role models, quite frankly. It's a little daunting.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because I think you had from the TV side, you had the Cosby Show, which was family ties and things like that. So you saw strong relationships, and then all of a sudden it just seems like that just shifted away, where you got more show friends and girlfriends and stuff like that. It was shows where people weren't really in solid relationships, so they were the single friends dating, breaking up, dating, breaking up, and stuff like that. So it went from the household shows that we would see to just this change in culture.
Yeah, this independence and dating scene. You know,
exactly, Les. And I think that a misnomer is a lot of people believe that they'll lose their individualism if they're going to be in a relationship. And at the end of the day, I mean, you guys are always you. We're always going to be who we are. And if we lose that, and we try to be mirror images of your wives or your girlfriends or vice versa, it's going to come across inauthentic and try hard, and you're going to lose ourselves and get resentful in the past. So I think you're right, man, that a lot of people, and you saw it, even in television, right? It's a representation of kind of what we're seeing in the culture. I think people thought that there's a huge drive for individuality and pursuing what we want. And I think that a lot of people mistakenly assume that a good partner won't allow us to still be and cheer for us and to support us to go after our individual pursuits. But a great partner will, and they don't want you to be, they don't need you to change. They don't need you to, be a clone of them or to love the same romance movies or crafts or whatever it is that they're into, but will allow their man or woman to pursue whatever it is that makes them feel truly amazing. If you love somebody, that's
what you do.
That's what you do. Yeah, because you shouldn't want to, right?
I think I good point. With my wife, we have very separate taste in things that we're really interested in, and so I'm just like, hey, go do you. I'm gonna do what I do, but that's fine. If you want to come cheer me on from time to time, or I'll come cheer you on from time to time, that's fine. But do your own thing. We can be individuals, and then we'll have stuff that we're going to go do together, So I think there's got to be that balance in all of it. And I think so many people have like that mindset is I need to be me 100% of the time and be that individual 100% of the time. And they're not realizing that, no, you gave that up. Yeah. You can still be yourself.
You got married. Yes.
But now there's a bond there because you're not just thinking about yourself, and a lot of people don't think about them, the other person. They're worried about what's in it for me.
Plus, I don't know if you remember when we first spoke, I was unless I don't know if you already know this, but I thought it was so cool that Russ's wife made him that Man Space banner, and she supports him.
The logo behind me.
Do this. Get on there. Go talk to the internet, and that is such a badass quality, man. And I don't know. Look, even I was like, well, that's amazing. That's what I want. In a partner as well, and that's possible. And I think there's a lot of people that don't, even know that you can love somebody so much that you'll support them even when they're away from you, if that's truly their happiness.
I believe that you have to have some interest in your partners in the things that they do, at least a little bit, at least some push, help, be a part of it, to a certain extent, because if not, then it becomes an individual sport, right? And in a marriage, it's not an individual sport. It's a togetherness thing. So, my wife, I talk trash about her. She knows I love her dearly. We talk all the time, and I make crack jokes here and stuff like that. But she also encourages me to continue to do it. She's like, I heard what you said. It was pretty funny, but I heard what you said. I might get fussed at something thrown at me, but it's cool. I like that attention. Right. And she knows it. So and she gives it to me as much as she possibly can.
And that's what she fell in love with. She fell in love with love, with Les, the individual man,
exactly.
And when we change that, we lose the spark and attraction. We end up losing ourselves.
Her jokes about him are much better than his jokes about her, though.
It's almost like she's the comedian. You know what I mean? I'm a sidekick to this whole thing. You know what I mean? But when she's not around,
we get her.
I'm the 100. I'm the 100 man on that gorilla.
I love that. I got in a fight with that. My girlfriend, I love that you guys brought that up. Yeah, my girlfriend, she thinks I'm crazy too to say that 100 Chris's could beat it. And I said the same thing you said, Les. I said, yeah, I said, eventually we're gonna wear them down, man. That's a lot of fast switch muscle fibers. Those things, they're gonna get gassed out. You can't be that strong and keep going forever. Yeah, by 80, 70 of me, you know, they're gonna be worn down eventually. We'll get a leg lock around them.
That's
Eventually,
it, man. We're gonna jump on his back and put him in the headlock, bro. I'm gonna squeeze that no neck gorilla out, you know, choke him out.
I know. The necks are about 36 inches. I looked it up.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
And I'm gonna take a whole bunch of pictures with him, a whole bunch of selfies.
So your wife told you.
Told you.
That's it. Got him. You know, it's only 3 of us left. But we got him.
Got him.
Hey, scoreboard got it. Yeah.
Right. So, Chris, being that this is a man's show, we talk about different levels of man's health, from physical to the mental side. One thing we talked about on the show is how women should want us to connect, on our emotional side of her man, right? It seems like it's a downside, you know. But could you share some insight on the statement of the men who are connected to their emotional side tend not to be successful in the romantic department?
Say that. Yeah, say that one more time.
I just want to elaborate on that, because I kind of like I got where he was going with this one, and it's like, men who are a little bit more in touch with their emotions don't seem like they're as lucky with women as the bad boy guy. The good guy gets left out.
The one that can connect and understands his feelings.
So it seems like the guys that are gonna come to you most often are the guys who are a little bit more connected with themselves, right? They understand that they need help. They're unlucky with what's going on. So they're a little bit more in touch with their emotions. So why is there that big disconnect between that emotional guy and the bad boy? Why does the emotional guy is not as lucky as the bad boy?
Right.
Because generally speaking, of course, based on, we're always looking for what we need. And oftentimes the guys who are just really in their emotional side, you know, shoegazing, emo, you know, style, just listening to sad music and really in their feels on that level, they oftentimes lose their masculine polarity, and they're not able to provide what initially intrigues a woman. She's got the emotions, you know, she's got tons of them. She's good. She's great. That's her, that she knows how to speak that. And she's got what she needs, most likely, in this case, for example, it sounds like, is looking for something, a guy who also has, is tethered and not being blown around by his emotions, but has them, acknowledges, but is in, is that lighthouse in the middle of the ocean. And she's allowed to be the waters and the waves that are constantly changing and moving and, making things, dancing and beautiful. But if she needed another girlfriend, pure emotion, she would just get another girlfriend. But most likely what she's going to need at that moment to balance her out is that masculine presence. And that's why those guys, they oftentimes initially get those first looks. What all ends up happening is that, but those guys end up getting exposed because they're not able to communicate at all, because they're just back to the gorilla. They're sort of, down in their chest, and they're not able to. So as a man, it's a really special, beautiful thing when we can have both aspects, and we can work. We can work both angles. We can understand our emotions enough to express them, but also still be grounded in our masculinity and understand that it's healthy and it's beautiful and it's attractive, and it's something that women, they still want. I know there's a lot of guys out there who they believe, no, girls, no, that's not true. I can tell you, I'm very fortunate and or unfortunate that I have a lot of female friends, and or I don't even want them. They're constantly grabbing me, tugging on my ear, and they're angry, they're upset that there's no more, men left. Nobody's talking to them. No one's approaching them. No one's makes them feel like a woman. In order to make a woman feel like a woman, that's when, having that masculine presence, that energy, that's what really makes them feel so gorgeous and sexy and beautiful, and allows them to share their gift. But when the guys come in there with this, all the feels and none of the action, all the, guys are action, and women are feeling, then there's a mismatch. And it's buying and selling a product. They don't need that. They already got that, but they're looking for something else.
I like how you mentioned your friends who are saying that nobody approaches them and things, because Les can tell you, I can be very standoffish with people. I can be out and I'm 6'5", so like the only time women talk to me is like when they need help trying to get something off the top shelf.
Yeah.
So, but how can men and go for not just men but women as well make themselves more approachable?
Absolutely, that's beautiful. So to show, so we're a walking billboard. We're always, before we open our mouths, we're giving off thousands of signals, and women are incredible about reading signals. So they're reading you from the moment you walk in the room, from those cool glasses that you just got, to your polka dot shirt, to your body language, to the smile or grimace that you have on your face, to the way that you did or didn't comb your hair. They're constantly assessing and wondering, does this guy have a baseline understanding of himself, and does he have at least some emotional intelligence, where is if you, because at the end of the day, women don't want to get rejected either. And guys out there, if you think rejection is scary for us, it's imagine being a woman who is really, really scary, because they never ever, very seldom make the move to get rejected. So the way that you can do it is by signaling that you have a baseline and an understanding, and that you're safe to talk to. Like this shirt I'm wearing, for example. It's pretty. It's pretty. It shows that I am a man, but I understand. And you're, come talk to me, because guess what? I'm probably gonna compliment you on, your jewelry or your shoes or something else, versus be so obtuse and be so stuck in my masculine only perspective that I will never understand you. And there's nothing that a woman hates more and abhors is a man who they end up screaming at a blank wall. You always hear them, girls like, could never get it. He could never get it. What they want to do is they're hopefully, they would love to be with a guy who does get it, and who will listen to them about their day and their girl and whatnot, even though even knowing that that's what they need. And I think that's important. So knowing and presenting yourself, understanding the seller, to use like sales terms, so that you can decorate your product in your storefront enough to show that it's open for business, versus wearing maybe, or, head down, looking like the Undertaker in a dark, black trench coat with scary music going on. That guy safe. I'm crossing the street to as well, because I don't, that guy doesn't, he's not signaling to me that it's safe. But be wary of how you're signaling with your smile, especially your eye contact is massive. That says a ton. Les or Russ, it's true. You are kind of standoffish. When I first met you, I was like, oh man, I didn't bother warm up. Right about that.
100%.
That's me.
My God.
That's me. I'm gonna be me. Well, we're running low on time, so we're gonna jump into the last word.
And now, the last word.
So, Chris, this is the last question from me. What do you feel is the biggest key to a healthy relationship?
The biggest key to a healthy relationship, I think, is knowing thyself and taking radical ownership of ourself, and not expecting your partner to change at all.
I love
Beautiful.
it. I love it.
Beautiful.
Could not be
radical.
Better.
Oof.
Love it.
Yeah.
That needs to be on a t-shirt, Les.
Don't give me any ideas. You know that, right?
You know what, guys? And that's easier said than done, because getting to that place is going to, involve some digging and some excavating and some pulling up some skeletons and some things in past and histories, and reworking and creating new stories around traumas. We've always had some gnarly things happen to us, but making sense and repackaging them in a way, because your partner inherently is going to, any backpack of issues you have in life, and as long as you're breathing, you're collecting problems and issues, right? Yep, they're gonna have to get them. But if you give it to them in a big old jumbled mess versus saying, hey, no, this happened, but you can see this little box and container I keep it in. As long as it gets out, I keep it in. I gotta hold on it. I know what it is, and yes, and that shows the characteristic that, hey, I'm a guy who knows how to solve tough things, versus this happens to me, or this happened to me and my mom did this, or all these traumatic things, and now I'm looking for reasons and excuses for it to happen again, versus saying, no, you know what, something did happen in the past and I learned a ton from it. I'm glad it's over, man. I'm such a stronger person, and now guess what, now by partnering up with me, you get those superpowers that we're gonna, no matter what the world throws at us, we're gonna repackage it up and we're gonna create that hero's journey together.
Awesome. So speaking of partnering up with you, how can people find you, get more information about your program, and even follow you on social media?
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hit me up at consultantchris.com. That's my website. And I would love anybody watching this show. I'm going to give them a free session. If you're a good person and you're looking for serious relationships, we'll give you a free session to see if I can help you, and if I can, I will, and if not, I'll help you, point you toward the resources that you do need on there to get what it is that you're looking for. Ultimately, I really do care. I really believe that the world needs more connections, and it breaks my heart to see so many people with their heads down, AirPods in, staring down at their shoes, wanting to be seen, wanting to acknowledge, and and just missing out on those opportunities, man. And you can find me on Instagram at Consultant Chris, and also YouTube, Consultant Chris, and TikTok, if it's still around, at Consultant Chris as well. So yeah, man, I'd love to connect and help as many good people as I can.
Oh yeah. And so when they go on to connect with you, our listeners, should they just go in and say the Man Space podcast as the reference?
Please do. Yeah, please. Yep. Go on there. There's a little, my form on there. You can ask, like, hey, how'd you hear about me? Or, what's going on? Just say, hey, mention, hey, I saw you on Les and Russ's podcast, and love to speak with you about what's going on in my life. And we'll go from there.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Man Space.
Chris, thank you so much for being here. We definitely appreciate you. This was such a great show. Yeah, Chris. And, man, I don't think we're done. I think we got to have you back, man. So we're going to stay in touch, and because I know we got to go a little bit deeper. We got to get some deeper. Yeah, we got to go deep sea fishing on this one, baby. Yeah.
And yeah, I love that question. Yeah, bring any of those challenging ones that you have from your listeners. I know obviously they trust you to share some things. I would love to go deep on those as well.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the Man Space podcast. As we do each week, we like to close the show with just a little bit of inspiration. So here's the truth. Starting a new relationship, it isn't about having all of the answers. It's about having the courage to take the first step without them. It's about showing up, not as someone perfect, but as someone willing to try again, willing to trust again, willing to be seen, flaws and all. You see, over time, you've learned, you've healed, and whether you feel ready or not, the fact that you're even thinking about love again means that your heart is waking up. And that's not something to fear. That's something to honor. You see, you don't have to dive into it all at once. You just have to start. Because the love you're hoping for, it begins the moment you believe that you're worthy of it. So Manspace Nation, take a deep breath and just go get it. He wasn't ready.
I was
And
ready.
now he's ready. Okay. I don't know what I'm gonna do with you, but anyway, yeah, I think that kind of put a nice little bow on this week's show.
Absolutely.
It's about, being comfortable with your flaws. There's not a single person out there that's going into this that's going to be 100% perfect. You're never going to get that perfect match for you. Everybody has their own flaws.
Yeah. And if you don't deal with your flaws before you get in a relationship, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're putting those flaws on the person you're in a relationship with. And then they have to help. They have to help unpack all of your trash.
Absolutely. But Manspace Nation, it's that time. So Mondays on WTMS TV, you can catch the Manspace podcast 2 days early every Monday on WTMSTV.com at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Thursdays, you know what it is. It's Throwback Thursdays with back-to-back episodes on WTMSTV.com at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're here. We got you covered. And you know what else, Les?
What's that, bro?
Coming up in July, we're just 2 months out. The season 6 premiere of the Manspace podcast.
Season 6.
So we have it up on the website. Ask the Manspace. We're gonna start season 6 with the Ask the Manspace episode. So drop your questions in that you want us to answer. What stuff that you want to know about us. Season 6 premiere. Ask the Manspace. Coming up in July.
Yeah, and Russ is an open book. Russ is an open book.
I already told you I'm standoffish.
I ask him anything, but you got to ask him early so he can warm up to the question. So get your questions in. Get them in quick.
Once again, we want to thank our special guest, Mr. Chris Gillis. Man, tremendous episode. We're definitely going to get him back on again soon. Just tremendous job. This has probably been one of my favorite episodes that we've done. And this is, I don't want to shoot his ego up, but this was one of our favorite episodes, man. One of my favorites because
he all right. Chris all right. He all right.
All right, there you go. Bring it back down. Bring it back down. But it just hit so much because just listening to him, it's been a lot of our episodes that we've been talking about these last few weeks.
And
So I mean, the alpha male versus the masculine male. I mean, he hit some of those same points that we were talking about. So just tremendous job, man. Tremendous job. So with that said, on that note,
we out of here.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Manspace.
Whichever platform you listen to us on, make sure you subscribe and don't miss a show.
Remember to keep up with all the Manspace updates on our website, themanspacepodcast.com.
And you can follow us on Instagram at ManspaceNat1.
Until next time, Manspace Nation, he's Les, I am Russ, and we are out
of here.